China just dropped an AI bomb that shook the entire tech world. DeepSeek AI went from complete unknown to challenging OpenAI in less than 72 hours. Stock markets crashed, tech giants lost billions, and the AI race just got completely rewritten. Here's how a Chinese startup with a $6 million budget just changed everything. DeepSeek started in 2023 as a complete nobody. While OpenAI was burning through billions, this Chinese company was working in silence. Founded by Liang Wenfeng, a quantitative trader turned AI researcher. No massive funding rounds, no celebrity endorsements, just pure engineering focus. The company was building large language models while everyone was distracted by ChatGPT's success. They released DeepSeek version 1 in late 2023. Barely anyone noticed. Version 2 came out in 2024, still flying under the radar. Meanwhile, OpenAI was raising $6.6 billion, Google was pouring resources into Gemini, Microsoft was betting everything on AI. DeepSeek kept iterating, they focused on efficiency over marketing. While Western companies were spending millions on compute, DeepSeek was figuring out how to do more with less. They studied every research paper, reverse-engineered successful models, built their own training techniques. The team was small but brilliant. Former employees from tech giants, PhD researchers from top Chinese universities. They worked 12-hour days perfecting their algorithms. No venture capital pressure, no quarterly earnings calls, just relentless improvement. By late 2024, industry insiders started noticing DeepSeek's papers. Their models were getting competitive results with a fraction of the resources. But the mainstream tech world wasn't paying attention. That was about to change dramatically. January 20th, 2025, DeepSeek dropped R1. The AI world stopped breathing. This wasn't just another language model, this was reasoning AI that matched OpenAI's O1 performance. At zero cost to users, R1 could solve complex mathematical problems, write sophisticated code, analyze legal documents, perform scientific reasoning. All the capabilities that made O1 special, but completely free and open source. The technical specs were mind-blowing. Built for just $5.6 million in compute costs. OpenAI spent over $100 million training O1. DeepSeek achieved similar results for 95% less money. The efficiency gains were unprecedented. Within hours, R1 hit #1 on the App Store. Downloads exploded globally. Researchers worldwide started testing the model. Results were shocking. R1 wasn't just competitive, in some benchmarks it was superior. The reasoning capabilities were extraordinary. R1 could break down complex problems step by step, show its thinking process, correct its own mistakes, all while running inference much faster than OpenAI's models. Tech Twitter erupted. AI researchers couldn't believe what they were seeing. A Chinese company had cracked the reasoning problem, with minimal resources, and they made it completely free. The implications hit immediately. Why pay $20 per month for ChatGPT Plus when R1 delivered similar reasoning for free? Why use closed-source models when open alternatives existed? The entire AI business model was under attack. January 27, 2025. The stock market opened with carnage. Nvidia dropped 17% in a single day. The chip giant lost $593 billion in market value, the largest single-day loss in stock market history. But Nvidia wasn't alone. The entire AI ecosystem collapsed. Microsoft fell 6%, Google dropped 4%, Meta tumbled 2%. Over $1 trillion in market value evaporated overnight. The AI bubble was bursting in real time. Investors panicked. If a Chinese company could build competitive AI models for pennies on the dollar, what happened to the massive capital requirements? What about Nvidia's GPU monopoly? What about the entire infrastructure play? The math was terrifying. OpenAI's $150 billion valuation assumed massive ongoing costs. Anthropic raised billions based on compute requirements. If DeepSeek proved AI could be built cheaply, these valuations made no sense. Venture capital firms started emergency meetings. Portfolio companies burning cash on GPU clusters looked obsolete overnight. The entire investment thesis around AI infrastructure crumbled. Nvidia's CEO Jensen Huang called DeepSeek's achievement remarkable but tried to downplay the threat. Too late, the market had already decided. The AI hardware premium was under attack. Tech executives scrambled to respond, emergency board meetings, crisis management calls. The competitive landscape had shifted overnight. Years of AI investment strategies became questionable. The psychological impact was massive. Silicon Valley's AI dominance suddenly looked vulnerable. China had proven they could innovate faster and cheaper. The narrative of American AI supremacy was breaking apart. DeepSeek's decision to open source R1, well, it changed everything. While OpenAI kept their models locked behind APIs, DeepSeek released everything: code, weights, even the training data. Complete transparency. This created an impossible competitive dynamic. I mean, how do you compete with free? OpenAI charged $20 a month for reasoning capabilities, but DeepSeek gave away equivalent technology. The open source community jumped in right away. Within days, developers were running R1 locally. No API calls, no usage limits, no content restrictions. The model could be modified, improved, customized. This was the total opposite of OpenAI's walled garden approach. The philosophical differences, honestly, were stark. OpenAI believed AI was too powerful for open release, that safety required control. DeepSeek took the opposite view, arguing that democratizing AI would accelerate progress and actually improve safety through transparency. Research labs around the world started downloading R1. Universities could finally access frontier AI models without massive budgets. Startups could build products without paying API fees. The entire AI ecosystem was shifting toward open source. Meta's Mark Zuckerberg had been pushing open source AI for years, and DeepSeek just proved his point in a pretty dramatic way. Open models could match closed ones, and the community could innovate faster than any single company. Google, honestly, found itself in an awkward position. Their models were partly open, partly closed, but DeepSeek's full transparency made Google's approach look timid. The pressure to open source Gemini intensified overnight. The control versus openness debate became existential. Closed AI companies now needed to justify their restrictions. If open models were just as capable, what was the point of keeping technology locked away? The disruption moved way beyond stock prices and into real business impact. Companies that built products on OpenAI's API started migrating to DeepSeek. I mean, why pay per token when you could get equivalent models for free? Startups pivoted overnight. YC companies that had raised millions for AI wrappers suddenly had free alternatives. Business models collapsed. Competitive advantages just evaporated. The entire AI product landscape was reshuffling. Enterprise customers began demanding answers. Why were they paying huge AI bills when Chinese alternatives cost nothing? Chief technology officers faced impossible questions. Procurement departments demanded cost justifications. Educational institutions embraced R1 immediately. Universities could finally give students access to frontier AI. Research projects no longer needed million-dollar budgets. The democratization of AI was accelerating academic progress. Developing countries saw unprecedented opportunity. Nations that couldn't afford OpenAI's pricing suddenly had access to state-of-the-art AI. The global AI divide was narrowing fast. Digital inequality was decreasing. Small businesses that couldn't justify AI expenses started experimenting. Local developers began building applications. The barriers to AI adoption were collapsing worldwide. Innovation was decentralizing rapidly. The geopolitical implications were massive. China had proven they could build world-class AI independently. Years of export controls and restrictions hadn't stopped their progress. The technology gap was closing faster than anyone expected. DeepSeek's rise signals a fundamental shift in global AI leadership. The assumption that Silicon Valley would dominate AI innovation it died. China proved they could compete and win with totally different approaches. The new reality is multipolar AI development. America, China, and Europe are all pushing frontier research. The days of single-company dominance are ending. Competition is accelerating progress dramatically. Open-source AI is becoming the new standard. Companies can't justify closed models when open alternatives exist. Transparency and collaboration are winning over secrecy and control. The entire industry is being forced to adapt. The cost dynamics have permanently changed. Building competitive AI no longer requires billions in funding. Efficient algorithms and smart engineering can beat brute force spending. The barriers to entry are dropping fast. Venture capital strategies need a complete overhaul. Investing in AI infrastructure makes less sense when models are commoditizing. The value is shifting toward applications and specific use cases. Generic AI platforms are becoming worthless. The talent war is globalizing. Top AI researchers are no longer concentrated in Silicon Valley. China is attracting world-class talent. Europe is building competitive labs. The brain drain is reversing in multiple directions. Regulatory approaches must evolve. Controlling AI development becomes impossible when innovation is global and open source. Governments need new frameworks for oversight and safety. The old models are breaking down. DeepSeek didn't just release an AI model, they rewrote the rules of the entire industry, proved that innovation beats spending, showed that open source can compete with big tech, demonstrated that AI leadership isn't permanent. The next few months are going to be crucial. How will OpenAI respond? Can they justify their pricing? Will Google open source Gemini? How will Nvidia adapt to commodity AI? One thing is certain, the AI landscape just got infinitely more competitive. The age of AI monopolies is over. The era of global, open, and efficient AI has begun. And DeepSeek just fired the starting shot of the new AI war.